think obviously it's about, this is a rhythm event. You haven't been hurdling, haven't been able to get into that rhythm. That makes it more difficult. And with Jehue Gordon outside, and well, what a big win it was for him in Monaco, in an outside lane, rediscovering the sort of form that saw him as a precocious talent at 17, fourth in Berlin in 2009, and then started to rediscover some sort of that form last year. And again, as I said, in Monaco, 48 flat. And that puts him second on the world list this year, behind Tinsley of the USA, who was in the very first heat. So fingers crossed for Di Green. Top four qualified by rights. Tall figure of Isa Phillips in the yellow of Jamaica out there in lane 7. And Di Green started okay, trying to stay with Jehue Gordon. Looks fairly relaxed at this point, hurdling well. It'll be the second part of the race where that lack of preparation, lack of fitness may come to tell. Alejandro going well. Puerto Rico just hits that hurdle there. Phillips trying to get back into this race here, but it's Gordon and Di Green who are dictating things at the moment. Alejandro perhaps just with the lead, but Di Green going well so far. The defending champion acquitting himself very well here, just starting to look a little tired here as the tall figure of Philip comes through on the outside. Alejandro and Jehue Gordon, and fast finishing is Maggi, and can he get there? Di Green fifth. Quick enough though, I think, perhaps in terms of fastest loser. And I said as that race was progressing, it looked like Di Green, it looked like the world champion, and then that lack of fitness, that lack of preparation, when you get into the last 2-3 flights, that's when it pays. That's when, of course, when you really want to be able to dig into that well and there's nothing there, then he just struggled a little bit. But I'm hoping, I've got my fingers crossed, he'll be able to go through as the fastest loser.
Yes, ultimately no hiding place, looking pretty good at this point here, but he said during commentary that it is from this point on that the lack of preparation, all those injuries, he's fit now, but it's not that, it's in between the injuries, not able to do the training, and it's when you have to dig deep and find that fitness, that stamina, that strength. You can see him gritting his teeth, and again from this point here, with his usual fitness, he would be able to kick on and perhaps even ease down alongside Jehue Gordon, who's looking very good, and the eyes of Phillips. But again, it was close, but again, we expect him just about to go through on the time.
Yeah, I can confirm he will go through. His time is 49.79. Colin, I think, probably what we expected.
It's exactly how we expect it to be. Di's always going to be fluent off the barriers. He's a very competent hurdler. But, when you haven't got the work in your legs, it's going to be a very difficult race to run, because we all know that this event is known as the man killer. You've got to have speed, you've got to have endurance, you've got to have technical ability. And if one or two of these things are lacking, then this is not the race you want to be in. You can see he's focusing on that barrier, he's sighting it. He's going to work hard off every single one of these. He starts setting himself up. He's looking around, and now at this stage, he can start to feel the pressure. He knows people are gathering pace, they're closing down on him, and he's got to work so hard into the line. Goodness, he looked at the clock. You can see that. I think there may be a little bit of sense of relief when he saw the time, thinking that may be enough to see him through. But Di Green, he is the defending world champion. Boy, it's a tough one to qualify. And let's hear what exactly...
Almost for all these athletes. And Tristan Thomas, the Australian champion from Brisbane. Personal best goes back to 2009. And there is Seb Roger, Shaftesbury Barnet athlete. He's taken almost a second and a half off his personal best this year. Isa Phillips, the Jamaican, third at the Jamaican Championships, behind Leifer Green and Ansel White. He's never made it to a World or Olympic final. Javier Coulson certainly has. As I mentioned, silver in the last 2 World Championships. And bronze in London. Mamadou Kassihan Only a semi-finalist at the Olympics, but good progress this year. From Senegal, but winner of the French Championship this year and last. Jehue Gordon, we all thought he was going to be the next big thing when he burst in the scene, finishing just outside the medals in Berlin 4 years ago. Didn't really kick on from there, but has now, just recently, he's started to find himself and his form again. The South African champion, Cornel Fredericks, 5th at the last World Championships. And we do have a former world champion in this lineup. The rather diminutive for a 400 hurdler figure of Bershon Jackson. 8 years ago in Helsinki, he won it, and Olympic bronze medalist in Beijing. He was breaking 48 seconds at will back in 2005, certainly not in that form, but he will finish very, very strongly. So we've got Tristan Thomas, Seb Roger there in 2, Isa Phillips, Javier Coulson, Mamadou Kassihan, Jehue Gordon of Trinidad and Tobago in 6, Cornel Fredericks and Bershon Jackson. First of 3 semi-finals in the men's 400 metres hurdles. First 2 go through automatically to Thursday's final. Away they go after a fairly lengthy hold. Roger in lane 2 and trying to keep pace with high caliber athletes outside him. And there is possibly the highest caliber of them all. Bershon Jackson is down. Javier Coulson storming on, but Bershon Jackson lying prone in the back straight. Coulson galloping on. And that eases things slightly for the remainder here. Seb Roger trying very hard as they come around the top bend. But 4 coming forward in a wave. It's Coulson and Han and Jehue Gordon, Cornel Fredericks. Only the first 2 to go through automatically. Now Coulson and Gordon start to separate themselves from the rest. And for Han and Fredericks, it'll have to be a fast time. And Coulson's starting to fade a little bit. Jehue Gordon looks round and looks easy, looks comfortable. Comes across the line, 48.11. Javier Coulson gets the second automatic qualifying place. Well, a race of some incident, and Coulson perhaps a smile saying I've got more. I'm not sure he does. Seb Roger will confirm his time in a moment. I think he was down in about 6th place, but Bershon Jackson, well, painful in more ways than one.
He looks an absolute agony there. Looks like he pulled his hamstring going into that barrier, and the last thing you want to do is, when you've pulled your hamstring, is face a 3-foot barrier. He had to take it, but this is where the business end is. Coulson, Gordon battling, as we've seen him do many times this year, all the way to the line. But it's only about qualification, and doesn't Gordon look good?
Strong finish. Hasn't looked too impressive when he's been racing in Europe this season, but suddenly here in the World Championships he is delivering, and how. Jehue Gordon looks to be at his very best here. Hugely impressive, winning his semi-final from Javier Coulson. Would have gone below 48 seconds without easing up. And in lane 7, tall Puerto Rican, bronze at the Olympics, silver at the last 2 World Championships. A couple of Diamond League victories this season. And the youngster, but he looks very, very experienced and strong. Hugely powerful young serve, Emir Bekric, European under-23 champion. Gave Tinsley a good race in the semi-final. So we have Clement, 2 times a world champion, in lane 1. Then Mamadou Kassihan of Senegal. There is Cisneros. Tinsley in 3. Sanchez in 4. Cisneros goes in 5. Jehue Gordon, Trinidad and Tobago, in 6. Javier Coulson in lane 7. And Emir Bekric in lane 8. This may prove to be one of the most fiercely contested finals of this World Championships. Clement, Han, Tinsley, Sanchez, Cisneros, Gordon, Coulson, Bekric. 8 men to contest the final of the men's 400 metres hurdles. They rise and go first time to a roar from the crowd. Evenly paced throughout the first round in the semi-finals. All have looked strong, but making the strongest start at the moment, Michael Tinsley already up alongside Felix Sanchez and passing the two-time Olympic champion. And Tinsley going very hard. Cisneros running well, 2 lanes outside. And also looking strong, Javier Coulson in the white headband in lane 7. And at the moment it's Cisneros and Coulson and Michael Tinsley in lane 3, the American. He came in as the favourite. Has he gone out too fast? Has he got something left in the home straight? Jehue Gordon will try and chase him down. Omar Cisneros tries to come, but he looks spent. So too Coulson. It's between these two. It's between Tinsley and Jehue Gordon. A race for the line for the gold. And Jehue Gordon may have got there with a dive. Tinsley and Gordon are all out, all spent and on the ground. What a race. What a final. The gold medal still to be decided.
You enjoyed that, Andrew. It's a strong, strong performance. We knew it was going to be for those two. I saw Jehue in Monaco run exactly the same type of race. Comfortable around the turn, but coming down the home straight, really focused. Knew that he was going to take a personal best. He was going to take this gold medal. He worked hard. He's slick over this final barrier. No staggering. Now it's all about who is the strongest. Who wants this title the most? They're going to lean towards the line. And what do you reckon, Andrew?
Well, I reckon, because I know, because I've seen the official result, the man nearest to Jehue Gordon on the dive has got it by 1/100th of a second from Michael Tinsley, and Jehue Gordon is the world champion.
2 men lifting this high jump final. This is the first of them, Barshim of Qatar. The height is 244. And just to let you know the full extent of what Barshim was trying to do there, only 1 man ever has gone higher in the history of high jumping. Javier Sotomayor, who's still the world record holder after so long. Barshim, only 1 more attempt left to stay in this final. Otherwise, the crown of high jump world champion will go to Bogdan Bondarenko.
Well, the flag of Trinidad and Tobago around the shoulders of Jehue Gordon by 1/100th of a second, the quickest time this year. He's produced it on the biggest stage. We thought it was going to be very close between almost all the athletes here. 2 separated themselves, and what a finish between Gordon and Tinsley.
Tinsley, he set off like a man possessed, chasing down Felix Sanchez. We all knew this was going to be his tactic, though. He tends to do this along the circuit, goes out very hard indeed. And he must have been very confident in his running. If you look at all the men in front of him, they seem to be running a far more cagey race. But I'm going to show you they're all moving very quickly indeed. You must remember that winning time was a world-leading performance. It's around about now where Jehue can feel the fact that Tinsley's ahead. He can see him in his peripheral vision, and now he makes that real surge, drive into each of these barriers. It's taken a long time for us to see this young man reach these heights, but look how hungry he was for this victory. He was going to take it right to the line. Look at that lean. Whoa, I would have been proud about that lean in my day.
Well, we talked about Jehue Gordon 4 years ago as a 17-year-old. He finished 4th at the World Championships and then stalled a little bit and didn't quite fulfill that potential, but he has done now. A word for the man on the outside, Emir Bekric in lane 8 as well, because he's taken 0.3 of a second off his personal best to take the bronze medal.
I was talking to some of the Serbs earlier, and they were very excited about this young man. They said to me, Colin, what do you think of him? And I said, he's in with a shout. Remember, he had a very strong finish in the semi-final, so we couldn't discount him, and yet again, he was the strongest of the rest. He came from way back, about 6th place, going into the final barrier. But look at him there, he works for this. He knows he can be in with a medal. And there's not many times that you get this opportunity. He's taken it. Wonderful stuff.
And that's how close it was on the lean from Jehue Gordon, a lean that earns a gold medal. Confirmation of that, 47.69, quickest in the time in the world this year from Jehue Gordon. Tinsley 2nd, Bekric with a national record, big personal best to earn the bronze medal.